All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something that literally surrounds us, but we almost never think about the massive, invisible infrastructure keeping us secure. We are exploring the anatomy of a truly safe industrial environment. We're talking about building a zero-harm workplace from the absolute ground up. We're going to look directly at the regulations, the international standards, and the training strategies that separate a world-class facility from, frankly, a disaster waiting to happen.
So why does this matter so much? We really have to look at the extreme stakes involved here. What is the true cost of a workplace hazard? Well, according to World Health Organization statistics highlighted in our source material, falls are the second leading cause of accidental death worldwide. Just let that sink in for a second. We aren't just talking about scraped knees or minor setbacks on an assembly line, we're talking about human lives. A single missing guardrail, a misunderstood protocol, or even just a momentary lapse in training can be fatal. The stakes literally could not be higher.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to systematically build out this anatomy of workplace safety. We'll start with number 1, the foundation of safety, 2, assessing and managing risks, 3, equipping the workforce, 4, the power of microlearning, 5, mastering emergency evacuations, and finally, 6, reporting and continuous improvement.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning with the absolute bedrock of a healthy work environment. Section 1, the foundation of safety. Looking at the legal blueprint provided by the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Development's Unified Work Environment Regulations, you quickly realize that safety isn't just about hard hats and harnesses. It actually begins with basic human dignity and structural comfort. We see strict non-discrimination policies and a complete, outright prohibition on forced labor. But it also gets very practical, right? Mandating gender-separated rest and prayer areas, ensuring there's adequate seating proportional to the number of workers, and requiring security cameras or guards. It even specifies gender-specific facility rules like prohibiting female workers in male-only establishments such as barbershops. This brilliantly illustrates that a safe workplace first requires an environment where employees feel respected, secure, and legally protected.
So once that human foundation is fully laid, we have to deal with the physical dangers of the job itself. And that brings us to Section 2, assessing and managing risks.
Now, what's truly fascinating is how the International Labor Organization dictates we actually handle these hazards. Looking at their hierarchy of hazard control tells this incredible mini-narrative. Most people assume safety starts with putting on a helmet, right? But look at step 4 on this list. Personal protective equipment is actually the absolute last resort. The very first step is to eliminate the risk completely. If you can't do that, step 2 is to substitute it with something less hazardous. If that fails, step 3 is implementing engineering controls. It's only when literally all of those fail that we rely on armoring the worker with PPE. It is the worker's final safety net, not the first line of defense.
And this brilliant operational strategy is summarized right here. The ultimate goal is to reduce human intervention through automation and physical barriers. As the sources point out, we want to minimize direct human contact with running machinery. Think about it. If we can engineer the risk away entirely by putting up a barrier or automating a dangerous task, we don't even have to worry about a worker slipping up. We solve the problem before it even starts.
But of course, we all know we can't automate everything. When hazards absolutely cannot be eliminated, we move to the armor phase. Section 3, equipping the workforce.
Let's look at how this builds into everyday application. Take a look at this comparison. Everyday prescription glasses versus approved safety goggles. The ILO guidelines are incredibly strict about this stuff. Regular prescription glasses do not provide adequate impact or hazard protection on a job site. You literally cannot just wear your reading glasses to the factory floor and call it a day. Safety eyewear must be specifically manufactured to withstand high impacts, sparks, and UV rays according to safety standards, even if you have to wear them right over your regular glasses.
And these requirements go way, way beyond the eyes. The ILO has massive mandates for personal protective equipment across every different body part. For the head, protection against falling objects and electricity means non-conductive hard hats. For the feet, crushing and slip hazards demand steel-toe boots with slip-resistant soles. And for respiratory threats like heavy dust or low oxygen, workers must have thoroughly evaluated respirators. Literally every inch of the worker is accounted for based on the specific hazard they're facing that day.
Crucially, though, protective gear must be paired with protective actions. Operational safety procedures for heavy machinery require strict protocols like lockout-tagout, or LOTO, which ensures machines are completely powered down before anyone even touches them.
It mandates specific work permits before any maintenance begins, and demands emergency stop buttons be installed near all critical work points. Without these non-negotiable protocols, honestly, even the best PPE won't save a worker from a machine accidentally turning on.
Oh, and here is a crucial ILO rule that so many people overlook. Contaminated PPE must never be washed at home. If you're working with hazardous chemicals or dangerous materials, taking those clothes home to wash puts your entire family at risk. Employers are strictly required to provide facilities to clean or dispose of this gear right there on the job site.
So, we have the foundation, the rules, and the armor. But how do we actually teach these complex machinery and PPE rules to a diverse, super busy workforce? That brings us to Section 4, the power of microlearning. Our sources highlight platforms that use short, bite-sized modules to successfully teach critical concepts. Imagine a highly effective 40-second microlearning video set in a modern factory. A new worker approaches a dangerous area, and a supervisor stops them. The English audio clearly states, "An accident may start due to a simple procedure a worker hasn't learned," while perfectly synchronized Arabic subtitles display at the bottom of the screen. The supervisor begins practical training, and the narration explains that safe work begins with clear, practical training before starting the task. The video rapidly demonstrates proper PPE usage, like a helmet with a chin strap, goggles, and safety shoes, along with emergency exits and using a fire extinguisher with the pass method. The voiceover emphasizes that training helps workers identify hazards and act correctly, which actually reduces injuries, errors, and downtime, fostering a real culture of responsibility. It concludes with an impactful team shot, holding a zero accident sign, reminding us to train the worker today to protect them and the team every day. As the final bilingual slogan drives home, safety training is truly an investment in lives. This is microlearning at its absolute finest, realistic, direct, and completely unforgettable.
But what happens when preventative measures and training actually fail? We have to shift our focus to the ultimate safety net. Section 5, Mastering Emergency Evacuations.
Safety guidelines outline 4 critical steps for an emergency evacuation. First, remove persons from immediate danger. Second, alarm by calling emergency services like 998. Third, contain the fire by closing doors and windows if it's safe to do so. And fourth, evacuate immediately to the designated assembly point. What's absolutely brilliant here is that in the original Arabic guidelines, all 4 of these action words start with the aleph sound, creating a highly memorable mnemonic device. Having a simple, sticky system like this prevents panic when mere seconds count.
And during this chaos, the chain of command is vital. Enter the rescue supervisor. This isn't just a fancy title, it is a profound responsibility. They're the designated leader who guides occupants to safety. They have to ensure all rooms are clear, take head counts at the assembly point, and report directly to civil defense authorities. And the most defining trait of the rescue supervisor? They are always the absolute last person to leave the floor. No exceptions.
Once the emergency is over, the work doesn't stop. We conclude the operational cycle with Section 6, Reporting and Continuous Improvement, because a true zero-harm workplace is always learning.
The ILO requires a very rigid reporting structure to prevent future tragedies. We're talking immediate notifications for fatalities and strict timelines for non-fatal accidents. But what's really fascinating here is the requirement to disaggregate data by gender and age. Why? Because it helps spot hidden trends. Maybe a specific demographic is more vulnerable to a certain repetitive strain. They also require maintaining records for diseases with long latency periods, recognizing that some occupational health issues can take literally decades to surface.
All these rules, all these regulations, and the training videos we've discussed lead us to this single ILO guideline. Employers, workers, and their representatives should cooperate as closely as possible in their implementation of safety and health measures. The crucial takeaway here is that you can have all the cameras, steel-toe boots, and evacuation plans in the world, but building a zero-harm environment relies heavily on personal accountability, continuous communication, and deep cooperation from absolutely everyone on the site. Which leaves us with this final thought for our explainer today. Look around your own environment, whether it's a corporate office, a bustling factory, or a construction site, and ask yourself this. If an accident happens today, is your workplace truly prepared to protect its people or just its assets? Knowledge is the very first step to safety. Stay curious, stay observant, and most importantly, stay safe out there.